Hello, everybody. Welcome back to one of your favorite podcasts. This is Columbus's School Chat Chat. Welcome. And this is me, Teacher April. I'm very, very excited to be back. This is our first episode of season 3. Insert party music right here. And as usual with me is our beloved teacher, Charles. Welcome back.
Hey guys, how's it going? Nice to be back. I was already excited to come back. It's been a long time, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm excited too. Teacher Charles, why don't you tell us about the social media that we have?
Sure. Remember, guys, this is very important because we are pretty much in almost all social media. So you can go ahead and look for us as Columbus School BCS. You can find us on Facebook. We are posting pretty much every day there. Some clips there also you can find. And we are on Instagram where we can post also some clips. We're checking your comments. We are checking always your feedback. This is actually very important for you to be always commenting. Also, we are on YouTube, right? And where you can find pretty much all the episodes, Google Podcasts, and also on Spotify. So go ahead, listen to us, put it in repeat. If you can, that would be also great. So yeah, there you go. Remember, we are as Columbus School BCS.
Thank you very much, Teacher Charles. That is correct. And today we have not only a special guest, also we have a special guest host with us. And here with us is Teacher Pablo, our shining star of TikTok.
Yes.
Stop it. Thank you very much. It's been a while since we last spoke on this podcast, and I'm very excited, very excited.
Yeah, and I think it's remarkable to mention the fact that Teacher Pablo is on TikTok also with Columbus as Columbus BCS, and he is producing a lot of interesting content that may help you a lot with your English, some hacks for you to improve your English. So go ahead, give some likes, and also follow us on TikTok. That would be great.
Actually, I think Teacher Pablo he's doing an amazing job. I love his videos. They're quick tips to improve. 100% recommend. Thank you, Teacher Pablo, for doing such an amazing job. We love you.
Thank you very much. Just to mention that it's not only me. We have an entire team. I'm just the face and the voice, but there's an entire crew working with me.
Come on, acknowledge it.
Don't be that modest, Teacher Pablo. But yeah, we have a whole team working on all of the things we're preparing for you. So we are really grateful to be able to start a new season, and it is all thanks to everyone's support from inside and from you guys on the outside. Thank you very much. And now I will introduce our special guest of today. This is Jerry.
Hello.
Hi, Jerry. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Yeah, let's go.
All right. This is going to be very interesting. This is a very interesting topic because we have the two guests that we have today are an amazing complement for the topic that we're going to be addressing today, which is hip hop lyrics. So as we know, as some probably know, at least Teacher Pablo, we know that he's a music producer. He likes posting his music, creating, right? Very creative people, right? So today we are pretty much going to do that also with Gerardo, right? AKA Jerry. Suchilla. Yes.
Yeah, please call me Jerry if you can. Thank
All
you
right,
so much.
of course. Yes, that's better actually. All right. So pretty much what we're going to start with, I'd like to know first of all from Jerry, how was your approach with English? Because I can hear that your English is really good.
Thank you. Well, the first step maybe is just learning the basics through school, but most of it after what would be middle school, I guess, secundaria maybe. it was mostly through video games, movies, and in this case, hip hop. Um, Mostly video games because I played a lot and I played online and I had to speak to my teammates.
Yeah.
So I had to practice. And I don't know, it just became second nature maybe.
All right. What type of games did you play?
Well, mostly shooter games like Call of Duty. I also played League of Legends, stuff like that, where you need to communicate. League of Legends is more like text, so that helped me in the way of typing everything correctly. But yeah, video games and movies, especially movies without subtitles, that helped me a lot.
All right. Working out the four skills, right?
Yeah.
100%, yes.
There you go. So this is very interesting, right? Because you mentioned that somehow it helped you actually with your passion, which is hip hop, right?
Yeah.
How would you describe, like, how did you find, or how do you remember that you encounter with hip hop?
That's a good question. I'm pretty sure it started in middle school.
Right.
With like Eminem. I had a friend that was obsessed with Eminem, and everybody knows Eminem, I think.
Yeah.
And I started to like some of the songs. I didn't really pay attention, but everybody can like nod to a beat, move your head around. It sounded nice, so I started looking up the lyrics. I did not understand, and that made me search for definitions of words that I did not understand. Probably Eminem is not the best option because it's a little bit offensive.
Yeah,
I guess you could
sometimes.
say.
Yeah.
But that's how it all started. Searching definitions of the words, or maybe I didn't understand like a whole sentence, and I would try to Google translate it, and it didn't sound right. But just step by step, little by little, I got kind of used to it.
Yeah, this is a very good way to go. I mean, for kids out there listening, probably music is a way to go when you're learning another language. And in this case, we're talking, of course, we're talking about English, because I mean, when you're a teenager, it's when you start like really getting into music somehow, either by playing it or listen to it. Right. So whenever you try to sing a song and try to sound cool, whenever you're singing the song, you are pretty much forcing yourself to learn the lyrics, look them up, and learning some of the slang that may be used in the songs. I remember that I had a student that really liked 21 Pilots, and 21 Pilots lyrics are sometimes like very hard to memorize because they're a little bit complex sometimes.
Encrypted.
But yeah, and it actually improved his pronunciation a lot because he was trying to mimic how they pronounce. So that's good. To a certain level, it will improve a lot your English, and also it's a very interesting way to interest you a little bit more on English, because at the end of the day, it's out of the regular scheme of a class, right?
Mhm.
And in this case, you are concentrating on something that you like, right? So this is pretty interesting. And how about you, Pablo? What was like your first influence, or how did you discover this?
Well, I think I share some of the experiences with Gary. I can remember it was around junior high school when I started to dance. My approach was pretty different because I started to dance first, and then when you look for music to dance to, then you find that hip hop, it's an entire culture full of rhythms and mixtures of rhythms. And then I realized that I think Eminem is a big name in the industry, is a big name in the culture and in the history.
Mhm.
And we cannot talk about hip hop or rap if we do not talk about racism. Let's remember that one of the turning points for black music making it into the mainstream is through that subversive path that they had to go through in order to talk about all of this. Going back a little bit, I remember that first you discover one song that you really like, you get cocked by the hook or the chorus, and then you realize, they are from LA. This rapper is from New York. He's from Atlanta. Then you start
East Coast, West Coast.
make those differences. East Coast, West Coast. And then you realize that the slangs that they have in different areas of the states are very different. So now you can identify not only because of the rhythm, but because of the slang. And there is one thing that I think is very important for us when we try to travel, is that you can learn English, but you can learn English in a 100 plus 20% when you understand specific areas of where this language is spoken. Going back a little bit with Eminem, it is I agree that sometimes it can be pretty aggressive, it can be very offensive, and he speaks like he's angry all the time. But let's remember that Eminem is like three characters in one person. He has the Slim Shady era, then you have the
Slim
Marshall
Shady.
Mathers.
Marshall
then you have,
Mathers.
yes, exactly. So you have very introspective kind of language, and he talking about fame and poverty and struggle. And then you have Slim Shady, which is really provocative and really just for the laughs. And then you have Marshall Mathers, who's a guy that remembers where he's coming from and now talks to you about what the curse of fame, the curse of getting rich so fast, and etc. So I agree with Jerry that it can be aggressive sometimes, but there are layers, and the big things that he has made for the culture is that one of his songs from the movie is the first rap song ever to win an Oscar.
Yes.
And that is taking the hip hop culture into the mainstream. I mean, the Oscars is like, what more exposure are you trying to get? That's like the look at me moment in hip hop history. And we cannot, once again, we cannot talk about hip hop if we're not going to talk about Black music and racism. So did I answer your question?
I think you did. Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
Give us much more to chew on. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, there's a whole thing about it, right? Like there's a whole movement behind. I think every type of music has a story, right? In this case, well, I think that we are mostly influenced by the US, right? Because we are very close to it. So I think that, yeah, eventually some trends regarding this type of music eventually arrived to us and we learned through it. So I've been looking at different, they implement things about music here. Like you said, in the last, I don't know, 10, 11 years, I have been looking at, dance academy developing throughout the state, right?
Yeah.
In which hip hop music is a base for them to start. I think that there was some of them concentrate a little bit more with jazz and the basics of dance, and then they developed to hip hop, which is a type of music that helps you a lot with that kinesthetic ability, right? So I think it's very influential, that aspect of this type of music specifically.
Yeah. So now that we know like your first encounter with the music, I would like to ask maybe first Jerry, what more specifically, what is it that you like about hip hop? How is it different from others?
Okay, the first thing that got me was the rhythm, just the general rhythm it has. But once I got into it, it's basically all the different perspectives they can give through hip hop. It's really incredible to me, like how they can just tell a story without specifically saying what it's about. Like they use the wordplay, which is the thing that I like the most. they're just like really witty. They're just really intelligent sometimes in the way
Yeah.
they explain things. They explain things in a way you would never like think about. And that's what got me, like in the end, that's what gets me every time.
Nice,
There's one
nice.
thing about rap music that if you're not willing to be the best, then you shouldn't be doing it. It's like a
Yeah, it's
real
really
fight.
competitive. It's really, really
Yeah.
competitive.
And there are many aspects to rank or to score, like for example lyricism, there is rhythm, music producing, and one of the things that we as listeners appreciate a lot is that they, of course there must be rhymes. You cannot take
Yes.
take rhyme out of the formula, but when you can tell a story that makes sense using rhymes and structures and lyrics that keep that keep you thinking about it. Maybe you have to listen to the song twice and then understand the real meaning on all the
Yeah,
layers of the
there's
lyrics.
some beautiful songs like
Yeah,
telling
definitely.
a story. There's I can give a few examples maybe. Like if we were talking about Eminem,
Yeah.
Mockingbird is a good one.
Yes, that's a great one.
My favorite song would be Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst by Kendrick Lamar, which is a 12-minute song, which is a whole story about three people. And yeah, and the wordplay, just it's something that I really like. I can give you a quick example. There's this freestyle by Marlon Craft like 2 years ago, I think, and he said something about I gave them to my foes because none of them ate with me. So that's just basically I gave them, I don't know, the fight just because none of them
Yes.
ate with me. None of them ate with me would mean none of them were with me when I started this.
When I started this, yes.
But at the same time, none of them ate. That's an 8, like the number 8. I gave them 2. That's 2. My foes. So 2 times 4, 8.
Oh my God. That's like
one.
Really?
That's one I really
Was
like.
that the intention originally?
Yeah, that's
Yes, it
intentional. That's
must
all
be.
intentional.
yo, that's like a lot,
What am I
right?
doing? Not
Like,
listening
And
to
they
this.
do that every line. So it's really incredible for
So
me.
you
Wow.
also need to know math for this one.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll work for me then.
Uh,
So what was the name of that one?
That's from a freestyle.
Uh-huh.
That's when they go into like radio shows and they just put a random beat and the artist has to adapt to the beat and then from memory just try to do a song.
Yeah, sometimes like
His
when
name is
they
Marlon
are
Craft.
like, improvising, right?
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, it's really hard. You have to be very quick minded, but
Mhm.
sometimes like they perform things like very complex. I mean, like to be in that very moment, like producing that in that very moment, I think it's amazing. I mean,
Remarkable, yeah.
yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you need to have, as Pablo mentioned, a further understanding of the culture
Mhm.
and the language to be able to understand it, because otherwise it would sound like something that doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
because that rhyme I said,
at
I'm
the
sorry.
end of the
Go ahead.
day, please go ahead.
Okay, sorry. That rhyme, that wordplay that I told you about.
Yeah.
Well, you have to know what foes mean.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know what none of them ate with me mean.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you need to. Well, you start understanding like the slang and how they say things. So it helps you a lot to get into the culture. It helps you a lot to feel more natural, I guess, with the English language too.
Yeah, there is this line from Lil Wayne. Do you know Lil Wayne?
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiarized with the slang that what a G means. What is a G?
Yeah.
Which is a gangster, right?
Yeah.
A mafia guy. So there's this line by this guy that says, "Real G's move in silence."
Oh, I know this one.
Like lasagna.
What?
If you
Lasagna?
pronounce,
Like,
Yeah,
if you
because the
pronounce
G
lasagna,
is silent.
because the G is silent.
Yeah, the G is
So
oh
silent.
my
G's
god.
move in silence, like in lasagna.
Oh my
So
god.
at first sight, it doesn't mean anything. But if you and then
That's so
let's
cool.
be honest. When we read poetry like, I don't know, Benedetti or Cortázar or Neruda, the satisfaction you get by, oh, I discovered this, or this guy is really creative, or this guy is really clever. Cleverness is one of the abilities that we as listeners appreciate the most. This guy is really clever.
Is there something about pasta? Because I mean, mom spaghetti seems like
Mom
something
spaghetti.
more.
Mom spaghetti.
Seems to be like
Mom's-
something more cryptical.
Yeah.
If I think about it, like
Going back to Eminem, he's really good at the structures. What does that mean? You're not waiting for the end of the line to rhyme. You can rhyme in between those lines as well. Her arms are sweaty, mom's spaghetti. He's nervous, but in the surface he looks calm and ready. So he rhymes spaghetti, sweaty with ready. But in the meantime, he rhymes with nervous, but in the surface he looks calm and ready. So they don't have to wait for the end of the line or for the
Yeah.
punchline to rhyme. They can do it throughout the entire line. So that's one of the things that I really appreciate the most, that they break their head in order to make us get in awe of them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is there-
They can also rhyme words that seem like they are not supposed to rhyme.
I
Yeah,
have
they
that.
somehow do it.
orange.
Like orange. That's a good one.
Orange? With what?
With not really just a single word, but
Uh-huh.
maybe a combinations
Oh.
of words.
Like
Mhm.
downward. I mean, it doesn't rhyme, but they do it in a way that it makes you think that it does. And I think
Like-
that is very important as well.
I can think of one, like for example, orange, and then they say something, and they use or an inch, like a separate or an
Or an
inch.
inch.
Oh,
or an
so-
inch, you know.
So
Uh-huh.
I mean, taking
They
into
just rhyme the sound.
taking into account that of course our first language is Spanish, we
Mhm.
normally rely on the same letters.
Yeah.
When
They don't.
yes, that's the thing. In English, it becomes a little bit more phonetical rather
Yeah.
than being, about spelling, right? Because in Spanish, you know that in Spanish we
Yeah.
pronounce every vowel with every consonant.
Yeah.
So in English, they can rely a little bit more on even the pace of the syllables that
And
they have.
contraction.
Yeah. So that's what gets even more interesting, because they
Yeah.
probably the possibilities are wider, but you
Yes.
have to be clever enough to make them work somehow, and it's not, gibberish somehow.
Mhm.
And most of the verbs in English, most of the time are one syllable or two, and that's it. In Spanish, we have to think it through a little bit more, because we have sometimes 4 syllables per verb, like díselo or cuéntaselo. But in English, it's just like say it, do it,
Yes.
and etc.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and one thing that I would like to mention before we continue, most of people think that hip hop is a music genre, and it isn't.
Okay.
Hip hop is a lifestyle, or that's what Black culture or Black people say. Hip hop is a lifestyle that consists in 4 elements. We have the graffiti, the DJing or the scratching, the breakdancing, and rap music.
Yes,
Or the MC
rapping.
or the. And another thing that I think is really important, and I don't know what this isn't as popular as it should be. Rap as a word stands for rhythm and poetry.
Mhm.
Rap. And if you're going to talk about a music genre, you have to say rap music, because hip
Okay.
hop is a culture.
Yeah.
And that's just one thing that I think would be really useful for us in the future.
Yeah, that's interesting how how the concepts may vary, right? Because I didn't know that.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean it's
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean at the end of the day, rapping is like using words as poetry, right? But you
Yeah.
are adding rhythm pretty much, right?
Yes.
So and you start like playing with this. So that's why we have geniuses as Kanye West. He's a genius,
Kanye
right?
West. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he's a genius.
So yeah, that's like makes me wonder, right? Like what's your inspiration behind writing lyrics? For example, I'd like to know from Jerry, for example, what's your biggest inspiration to write hip hop or rap lyrics?
For me, or what I think that it is.
Uh, for you, and probably you can also mention in a general term in or the type of music that you listen
Okay.
to.
Well, from the type of artists that I listen to at the start when they're beginning their career, the biggest inspiration is they are like their own place where they live,
Mhm.
their own struggles, uh, the racism, of course, that's a big point, and how they are looked down upon sometimes. That's like the first for a lot of them. Then when they make it big, it's a lot of trying to help your own community
Mhm.
through your music, making them like teaching them in through your music what they can do to get out of the situation they're in, and just kind of stuff like that.
It's very similar to the premise of blues, right?
Well,
Because
it
Yeah.
comes from blues in
yeah,
the end.
yeah, and at the end of the day, he's talking about your life, right?
Yeah.
How it goes, the place you come from, and everything, right?
Mhm.
So that's where it gets interesting, right? Because somehow, well, we could have an equivalent here in Mexico, which is regional music, right? Which also talks about how life was tough and the stories, and you know how difficult it is, the situation. They mention in hip hop or rap music, they mention a lot about the social conflicts that may
Yeah.
be living around the neighborhood in which they are living in,
Mhm.
which is with also depicts a lot of the background history about Black culture in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And what about you, Pablo? I'd like to know, like, what's your inspiration behind when you start writing lyrics?
Well, most of the time I have to make the beat or feel a beat that already exists because it gives me like the playing field or the playground.
Mhm.
And it is important to me that the music reflects what the lyrics are talking about. So it is not a mixture of two different concepts. So it is the same. And I think that as in every genre, like for example, let's compare it to pop a little bit, to big old ballads, pop ballads. You can go for the introspective kind of writing. You can go for the narrative of your social condition as well, and you can go for love or death or having fun. I mean, rock. You can make a rock song about yourself. You can make a rock song about society. That's where punk comes from. You
Mhm.
can make songs about love. You can make a rock song, a pop song, or a rap song about your feelings. And I think that at the beginning, hip hop was really subversive. It is like F the police. It was like I am going to shoot these N words and etc. And it's really hard for a person like me, born and raised in Mexico, with both parents together, going to college and etc., to relate to those kind of lyrics. And that's why I think people like Kanye West is so important, because he used the rap elements and the hip hop culture to talk about human condition.
Yeah.
and you can relate through his lyrics about the emptiness of the universe, or the human beings being so alone in this world. And in my case, I think that is the approach that I wanted to have with music. I it wouldn't feel real for me, because hip hop is also about keeping it real. It wouldn't feel good for me to write lyrics just rhyming about killing 2 or 3 people and getting my money and getting away and effing this BS and etc. If I didn't feel it, or if I didn't mean it. And I think that all the lyrics that I have written so far are about having fun, about love, about doing it my way, etc. And go check that out. And I think that the inspiration could come from a movie, from a book, from a situation that you have. You can find inspiration in every moment, but the playground that you choose to play the game, it's what is important. Are you going to make a Latin trap? Are you going to make an Atlanta trap? Are you going to make a West Coast hip hop kind of groove, and etc.? And I think that what you said about blues is true, because lyrically, it is about life is unfair. I don't have the same opportunities as other people.
Very gloomy.
Yes. And then when it comes to music, the first hip hop tracks that we heard, like in billboards and etc., was really funky. So it's music, it's black music from the sounds all the way up until the lyrics. And I don't know, I just try to be as real as if I am making a poem about myself, but singing it, headbanging.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. I think that probably the most interesting part of the whole genre or music or lifestyle is the social aspect of it. Like you can see it even more nowadays that we are more exposed to with social media. But in this case, if we start with that topic specifically, we would probably have a very long episode. And sadly, we are running out of time already. So we are probably most likely going to have a part 2 for this topic specifically. I think there's a lot of things to cover. Like historically speaking, there would be a lot of things to cover, and probably provide examples and and how it affects somehow. So there you go, guys. We're gonna wrap it up right here, because we're going to burn our topics for the next part if we have the chance to do it. So there you go. Thank you. Yes, definitely. Thank you very much, Pablo, and thank you very much, Jerry. I really appreciate your art. Right? Remember, language is a vessel for art, for culture, for many things. Definitely. So thank you very much for your time and
Thank you for having me so much. Thank you.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
Please be back. Please.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be very interesting. Like provide little clips or examples of what we were talking about. That would be awesome. So thank you very much, guys. We really appreciate you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you, really. I feel like, I've been really quiet today. I'm just learning all of these new things I didn't know. Hip hop hasn't been yet one of those like rabbit holes you go into for me.
Yeah.
But now after today,
it's
I need
very,
you guys
very
back.
deep
Yeah.
rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, a whole different world, definitely.
I really wish we could keep up with this conversation in another episode. We would love to have you back.
That would be fun.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you guys for listening to us as well. Quick reminder of where you can find us. We are on YouTube. If you want to not only listen to us, but also see our faces, because personally, I'm into that. I make a lot of faces. We're also on Facebook posting on Instagram. You can listen to us on Spotify. You can find us in Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and our dear teacher Pablo doing amazing quick tips on TikTok. And you can find us everywhere as Columbus School BCS. Thank you so much for joining us on our first episode of season 3 of Chat Chat. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. See
Bye.
you.
Bye.